Sentire Media.
Welcome to the Stop Italian Sounding podcast, uncovering authentic Italian food. I'm your host, Robert Campana, and join me as we delve into the rich heritage of genuine Italian food, exploring its legends, history, and traditions. Through important tips and insightful interviews with industry professionals, you'll gain a deeper understanding of authentic Italian food. Welcome back, everyone, to the Stop Italian Sounding show, uncovering authentic Italian food. So, you know that sweet, dark vinegar you drizzle on everything from strawberries all the way to steak? Well, it is possible, unfortunately, that it is not the real thing. I'm talking, of course, about balsamic vinegar of Modena, because true Aceto Balsamico di Modena isn't just one product. It actually comes in two protected forms under the European Union law. First, we have the DOP, Aceto Balsamico Tradizionale di Modena DOP, which is a small batch product made from 100% cooked grape must, aged for a minimum of 12 years and sold in those bulb-shaped glass bottles with a tiny little cork that's incredibly complex, is pretty expensive in price, and is quite rare. And then there's also the PGI balsamic vinegar of Modena, or Aceto Balsamico di Modena EGP, which is what you're more likely going to find in stores and in some good restaurants. And that's what really I want to focus on today. So again, today we are going to head into the city of Modena and uncover what really makes balsamic vinegar of Modena, PGI, so incredibly special. Long before balsamic vinegar became so trendy and gourmet in different shops, or ended up even in squeezed bottles, which I've never encountered, but I know they exist, and I would walk far away from them. It was already quite famous in northern Italy, but not as a salad dressing, as most Americans tend to use it for. So first, I want to dive into the legend. Anyway, people in the province of Modena were already cooking grape must and aging it in wooden barrels for as far back as the 11th century, so a long time ago. And by the time the Renaissance came around, the ruling Este family was gifting small bottles of this balsamico, as they called it, to European royalty. It was known not just for its flavor, but also, believe it or not, for its healing properties. It was thought to have medicinal benefits and was even given to women after childbirth. So balsamic vinegar didn't start as a cooking ingredient. Instead, it started as a symbol of wealth, a symbol of health, and of course, a symbol of local heritage. In fact, the name balsamic comes from the word balsamico, meaning like a balm or curative. So what makes the Aceto Balsamico di Modena EGP, or the balsamic vinegar of Modena PGI, so different from all the mass-produced caramel-colored vinegars that, unfortunately, we see quite often here in the United States? Well, first of all, it starts with the grapes. Only 7 specific grape varieties are allowed, like Trebbiano, Lambrusco, Sangiovese, or Ancellotta, all grown in the provinces of Modena and Reggio Emilia in the Emilia-Romagna region of northern Italy. And these grapes are pressed, and the juice is then cooked slowly to create a sweet, dense liquid called grape must. And this must is then blended with aged wine vinegar and sometimes a touch of older balsamic vinegar to kickstart the flavor development. And the mixture must contain at least 20% grape must and at least 10% wine vinegar, some that could have been aged a minimum of 10 years, believe it or not. And once it's blended, it's then aged in wooden barrels, often made of oak, chestnut, cherry, or even juniper, for a minimum of 60 days. And premium producers often age their PGI balsamic vinegars for 3 years, 5 years, or even more, even over 10 years, believe it or not. And during this time, the vinegar interacts with the wood, it evaporates slightly, and then concentrates in flavor. The result, amazing. I use this all the time. It's a rich, sweet, sour balance that's glossy. It's smooth, it's deeply aromatic, and it is dense, which is the best. I'm not a big fan of the real liquidy type of balsamic vinegars that has more of a percentage of wine vinegar. I like it more dense. My personal opinion. Anyway, I mentioned the acronym PGI a few times, and I want to just take a minute and discuss what that actually means, because you've probably noticed it on many different products out there. It's not just on balsamic vinegar of Modena. But anyway, the PGI stands for Protected Geographical Indication, or maybe you've seen it in Italian, IGP, or Indicazione Geografica Protetta. And this certification guarantees that the product, in this case, is actually what it is and comes from where it says it comes from. Of course, that it uses the approved grape varieties and that it follows a very regulated production process, and that it is indeed inspected by an authorized certification body before it goes and hits the market. So you'll find this blue and yellow PGI seal right on the label. In fact, this blue and yellow PGI seal has to be in the same field of vision of the official name of the product, which in this case is Aceto Balsamico di Modena, EGP, in Italian. So the Italian name and the blue and yellow PGI seal have to be in the same field of vision somewhere on the bottle. So that's something to look for next time you purchase this product. So anyway, the PGI seal is a guarantee that your balsamic vinegar isn't just some random blend of sugar and vinegar pretending to be Italian, which unfortunately often does happen. So let's talk about the fake balsamic, unfortunately, because we do see that all over the place, or I should say the Italian-sounding balsamic vinegar. In grocery stores, you often see things labeled as balsamic vinegar or even balsamic glaze, which I guess could technically still be product of Italy, or balsamic style dressing. These are all Italian sounding. Most of them, I should say, are Italian sounding versions. But here's the problem. Many of them do contain, unfortunately, caramel coloring or thickeners like cornstarch or added sugar, or really anything that is not real cooked grape must. Some of them actually even do say product of Italy, which makes things even more confusing. But that doesn't mean you're getting the authentic thing. Of course, you have to look for, like I just said, the blue and yellow logo, PGI logo for this specific balsamic vinegar that we're talking about. There is the DOP logo, the red and yellow DOP logo, which we did not talk about today. That's a totally different ballgame. We'll talk about that for another episode. But you have to have these logos to get the real deal. Anyway, this is a perfect example of really what I fight against every day through Stop Italian sounding products that sound Italian, look Italian, but are not made according to the actual traditions or regulations that define specific Italian food. So now that you know how balsamic vinegar Modena PGI is made and how to spot the real stuff, how do we use it? So the most important thing to understand is that a little does go a long way when it comes to Aceto Balsamico di Modena EGP. Don't pour half a cup on your salad. Just a few drops should suffice. Also, a few drops, not just on salad, but on different aged cheeses, such as a Parmigiano Reggiano. We could drizzle it over fresh fruit, such as strawberries. Delicious. We could drizzle it over grilled vegetables. We could use it as a finishing on roasted meats, or even pairing it, believe it or not, with vanilla gelato for a sweet and sour dessert, which in my opinion is a perfect combination. It's not a food crime, but not everybody likes it. If you haven't tried it, I do encourage you to give it a try. But real balsamic vinegar PGI does add a lot of different flavor profiles depending on what you're putting it on. So it's really an amazing thing. It's an amazing product filled with so much history as well. And if you're using a higher aged Aceto Balsamico di Modena EGP, you don't want to mix it just in salad dressing. You do want to savor it on its own, such as a finishing touch, like I just mentioned a minute ago. So next time you do reach for that bottle of balsamic vinegar Modena PGI, ask yourself, does it have that PGI seal? Was it made in Modena? Was it aged in wood? Like, we really have to read all the fine print. Otherwise, you could be like, you're spending money on something that's fake. Why would you want to do that? And most importantly, does it respect the centuries of tradition behind this product? Because when you do choose real Aceto Balsamico di Modena EGP, you're not just buying vinegar. You are buying history. You're buying craftsmanship. You're buying story. You are buying the territory. In one word, you are buying terroir. So it's much more than a product. Anyway, if this episode helped you to learn something new, which I hope it did, please leave a review and share it with somebody who still thinks balsamic style vinegar is the real deal, because it's not. Send them this episode. And if you want to support our mission, head over to Stop Italian Sounding on Instagram or on TikTok, on any of the social medias, and join the movement. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the stories of authentic Italian cuisine. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast for more insights and interviews. Also, feel free to reach out with your thoughts or questions on our social media channels at Stop Italian Sounding, or on our website stopitasounding.com. Grazie a tutti e alla prossima.
Sentire Media.
Hey, podcast producers and show hosts. Do you want to join a podcast network that celebrates all things Italian? At Sentire Media, we understand the allure of Italy and its unique culture. Our devoted team of hosts and producers are all driven by their shared passion for Italy. And we work tirelessly to create the best lifestyle podcasts and content that will whisk you away to the very heart of Italy. With us, you can savor the mouth-watering flavors, get lost in the stories from the past, break down the cultural barriers, and truly immerse yourself in the vibrant traditions of this intoxicating country. If you have a great podcast idea or are already in production and would like to join Sentire Media, head over to sentiremedia.com, that's SENTIRE media.com, and find out how to submit your show.